This is Algebra 2, 2.2, Part 2. We just have a couple problems to finish up, and one main concept here is x-intercept and y-intercept. When you are asked what is an x-intercept, it means that you have a line. We're going to go to the graph here, or have any type of shape. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. So remember, this is your x-axis. Up and down is your y-axis. So this right here would be my x-intercept. It's at -6, comma 0. Remember, your coordinates are always done x, comma y. It's at -6, comma 0. Anytime you have an x-intercept, whether you have a negative line or you have a positive sloped line, your x-intercept, so this one would be 4, 0. This one would be 7, 0. Hopefully you're noticing a pattern there, that they all end in 0. Anytime you have an x-intercept, it'll be the x-coordinate, and you'll have a 0 in the y spot. And I would write this down in your notes. When you have an x-intercept, it's where the graph crosses the x-axis. So if you're talking y-intercept, obviously it's where the graph crosses the y-axis. So you're going to have 0 in the x spot, and then you have your y. So if you go back to all of these lines here, I'll write in black for the y-intercept. This y-intercept is at 0, 6. This one looks like it's at 4.5. 0, 4.5. This one looks like about 0, -7.5. So anytime you have a y-intercept, it's where you have a 0 in the x spot. So I'm going to give us some problems. So 2x minus 3y plus 8 equals 0. And we want to find the x and y-intercept. So anytime you're asked to find the x and y-intercept, do two sets of parentheses and do diagonal zeros. The diagonal zeros will help you find this one for the x-intercept and this one for the y-intercept. So to find your x-intercept, we're going to plug in a 0 for y. So we have 2x minus 3 times 0. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, and 2x minus 0 is just going to be 2x. So that kind of goes away. Then we just solve this. We'll subtract the 8 to the other side. So you have 2x equals -8. Divide by the 2. And you have x equals -4. That's our first answer. The second answer is when we plug in 0 for x to find our y-intercept. So I'll do that in a different color so we can definitely tell it apart. 2 times 0 minus 3y plus 8 equals 0. Well, again, 2 times 0 is 0, so we're just left with -3y plus 8 equals 0. Let's subtract our 8 over again. And remember, you're Algebra 2 students, so you should be able to do this very swiftly. You may not even write it down, some of you. If you still write it down, fabulous. If you don't, that's okay too. I'm a little less picky on my showing of the work in Algebra 2 as long as you're getting the answer correct. And you can prove you know what you're doing. So -8 over -3 is the same thing as 8/3. So we have our answers. This crosses at -4, 0, and 0, 8/3. Okay, let's do another one. So I want you to pause the video after I write the problem down, and I want you to find the x and y-intercept on this one before we do it together. Remember, you need to make your two sets of parentheses with the diagonal zeros. Okay, so let's get started. Hopefully you've already done the problem and are ready to go. So we plug in 0 for y, so you have 2x 5 times 0, some of you will skip that step, and I'm okay with that, where you can plug it in your head because you know that 5 times 0 is going to be 0. So you have 2x minus 10 equals 0. Add that 10 over. 2x equals 10. X equals 5. Plug the 0 in here for x. Change colors. That cancels. We have 5y equals 10. Y equals 2 because I divided by 5 on both sides. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So our answer is 5, 0, and 0, 2. Now, another cool thing is we can use that to graph a linear because we have 2 points. So if we go back to our graph here, let's erase all of this stuff that I have. And some people use this as their graphing tool, so very, very easy. 5, 0, so that means we go over 5, put a point. The other one is 0, 2, that means we go up to 2, put a point. And we can graph using those 2 points because we know it's a linear equation. We have one more that we're going to do, and then we'll be done with this part. The last problem is y equals 5x plus 12. Diagonal zeros. Okay, so first part is put the 0 in for y. So put 0 equals 5x plus 12. Notice that the equation is written in slope-intercept form, which will make it a little bit easier. We're going to subtract that 12 over, so negative 12 equals 5x. Divide both sides by 5. And our x-intercept is negative 12/5. On the next one, plug in 0 for x. Change colors. Y equals 5 times 0 plus 12. So y equals 0 plus 12, which ends up being y equals 12. Now I threw this extra stuff in right here. Most of you probably will not write that, and I'm okay with that, as long as you know that 5 times 0 is 0. So this concludes part 2.